So, Responding to a Headset That Reads Your Brainwaves by Tan Lee. In the TED Talk, A Headset That Reads Your Brainwaves, published on TED.com in July 2010, Tan Lee speaks of a new astonishing computer interface that can read people's brainwaves, perhaps making it possible to control virtual objects or physical electronics, like turning on the lights with the mind. However, as Tan Lee also describes, it is difficult to read people's brainwaves because every brain is different. A certain program that works instantly for every brain is near impossible, at least with today's technology. But the presenter describes that they have made a teachable device that can learn how a specific brain works. For example, it can learn how to move a virtual cube with the chosen brain by choosing a function like dragging the cube towards the user. It can learn how the specific user imagines that the cube moves. And whenever those thoughts are displayed to the hardware again, movement will happen. She also showed someone turning on the lights and closing some curtains. But however, they have simply scratched the surface of this new area of technology and hope that it will carry on, resulting in a usable device for the future. The presenter's well-performed explanation makes it easy to understand why a certain device won't be able to work with all people. So I'm certainly convinced that her description about the human brain is correct. The teachable device, however, isn't that convincing when displayed. It did work, but not how well as supposed or expected. It moved the cube with some small malfunctions, but it still seemed far away from improvement. And it also worked. Sure, it worked to turn on the lights and closing some curtains, but that seemed slow and unreliable. Uh, Although she said that they barely have scratched the surface, which sort of justifies the somehow undeveloped program. And Tan Lee's observations as a whole, they are easy to understand, but a bit harder to agree with. The area of exploration is uncharted, which might involve people having a difficult time relying on the device, at least in the beginning when the technique remains unperfected. And if it doesn't work as wished to, it probably will not be used in the real world, I think. Because, or at least not to an extent, because I assume that if the device malfunctions, sort of like say some voice recognition in cars do, the usage will or might cause anger, which might lead to people not using the product. And sure, some people might use it to show their friends this new cool tech, but probably not in their everyday life. But of course, these thoughts only reflect the products as they are now. I have a strong belief of improvement if this undeveloped territory keeps being researched, and so does Tan Lee. That demands that the engineers and scientists keep digging for amelioration, as Lee suggests they should do. And sure, it might seem impossible, but so did the internet before it was developed. And if the device is improved and works as supposed in the future, I assume that the amount of users will increase rapidly, especially if it becomes able to control various physical electronics, such as lights, TV, etc. But that is yet to see. So as a conclusion, Tan Lee talks about a computer interface that can read people's brainwaves. That is teachable to work with a specific brain because every brain is different. Although it is still undeveloped, I don't think that the product, or at least as it is today, will be used in today's society. But I also think that there is room for improvement, which can result in an amazing revolutionary new technique that might be appreciated all over the world. But that is too yet to see.